From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in Review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., along with First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, arrived in the country from Jakarta, Indonesia before 5 o'clock Monday morning. The President and First Lady attended the inauguration of new Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto and Vice President Gibran Rakabuming Raka. In an information shared by Presidential Communications Office or PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez, the plane that carried the Chief Executive and First Lady landed in Manila around 4:45 Monday morning. The first couple joined other world leaders in witnessing the Indonesian leader's inauguration at the House of Representatives building in Jakarta. They were invited by Prabowo's predecessor, Joko Widodo, whose eldest son, Gibran Rakabuming Raka, became Indonesia's youngest vice president. Prabowo visited Manila last month and met with President Marcos at Malacañang Palace in Manila, where they affirmed their vision for their nation's greater ties. The Philippines and Indonesia are among the founding nations of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday said that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is pushing for investment incentives to promote the electric mobility or e-mobility. This, as the President raised with the Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, some of the challenges that hinder the development of the e-mobility sector. During a sectoral meeting on Monday with the DOST and concerned agencies at Malacañang Palace, President Marcos discussed ways to boost the Philippine e-mobility industry through science, technology, and innovation. The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, said President Marcos wants investors to come in the country. To do this, the President said, the government will provide incentives for local and foreign investors. The Chief Executive acknowledged investors' role in undertaking the production design to scale up the e-mobility sector to make a difference to the market. DOST Secretary Renato Solidum Jr. told President Marcos that potential investors, as well as manufacturers and fabricators, are just waiting for a policy statement from the government. The Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, is creating a strategic roadmap under the Electric Vehicle Industry Development Act, or EVIDA, to formulate policies and come up with possible incentives to support electric vehicles, or EVs. Another government initiative is the partnership with locally owned Toho Motors to determine the necessary policies to make it conducive for locally manufactured EVs, specifically e-trikes and e-jeepneys, to operate in the country. Solidum said e-trikes would soon be mass-produced in Isabela Province, noting that many customers are waiting for its availability in the market. He said officials in the General Santos City, as well as tricycle operators, are also interested. Secretary Solidum said local agri-machinery manufacturers could help speed up the e-trike production, adding that the DOST has also developed a hybrid electric train and an electric boat. The DOST has been pursuing initiatives across the EV value chain, prioritizing local expertise and designs. It is also implementing an e-mobility program map, which includes the conversion of conventional tricycles and buses into electric ones. Solidum said the e-mobility industry will create more jobs on maintenance, after-sales service, and other services. As of October 18th, there are 25,196 registered EVs and 705 EV charging stations or EVCS in the country, with 92 accredited EVCS providers. The EVCS providers have so far generated 10,407 new jobs and some 1.99 billion pesos in investments.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday hailed the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, for maintaining peace and stability in the Philippine waters despite foreign aggression and incursion in the country's territorial waters. During the celebration of the PCG's 123rd founding anniversary at the port area in Manila, the President lauded the agency's steadfast service and commitment to protecting the country's maritime domain, as demonstrated in every rescue operation, protection efforts, and enforcement of laws against illegal fishing and environmental degradation. President Marcos said, "Words and awards are always never quite enough to express his administration's appreciation for the PCG's unwavering commitment and tireless service, considering that it is facing challenges that are growing more complex." The chief executive stressed that the country has no maritime conflict with any foreign entity because of the PCG's calm resolve. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Congratulations to the Philippine Coast Guard on your 123rd founding anniversary. With the theme, PCG at 123, matatag, handa at maasahan tungo sa mapayapa at mapanatag na bagong Pilipinas, we are here to mark more than just a foundation day. We are also here to honor your legacy for over a century and to recognize the good work that you have done in the past few years in the changing climate, especially in the West Philippine Sea. The story of the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, mirrors the tale of our nation. A country defined by its relationship with the sea. Our maritime borders have borne witness to foreign vessels sailing in, some carrying the promise of trade, others cloaked in conquest. In fact, one of the earliest institutions established by the Americans upon their arrival was a coastal defense force to safeguard our shores from outside threats and to keep an eye on our seas for smugglers and for contraband. What began as a modest force of steamers patrolling the coastlines has now evolved into a dynamic organization that guards our borders, implements marine laws, and serves as the first responders in times of calamity. The transition to a civilian agency in 1998 marked a significant change in how we approach maritime security and environmental protection. With the shift from a solely military function to a civilian Coast Guard, you have been positioned to engage in broader collaboration with other nations, opening doors to cutting-edge technologies and critical resources that now strengthen your ability to serve with greater competency. Indeed, your emergence as a key player in our nation's maritime security reflects your commitment to service and exemplifies how to advance while remaining true to your core mission. You protect our maritime borders, standing resolute in the face of those who would exploit our resources or threaten our way of life, rescuing our fishermen on the sea when typhoons strike, and ensuring that our seas are not pillaged by illegal poachers. You are the steady hand that keeps us upright. While some see waters as merely a boundary or a resource, you enlighten our people on its true significance. Our seas connect us, sustain us, and are integral to our identity as Filipinos. Every rescue mission and every enforcement of laws against illegal fishing or environmental degradation sends a powerful message, a message that we can count on you whenever it matters most. As we look ahead, we must recognize that the challenges you face are growing more complex. Climate change, rising sea levels, and geopolitical tensions mean that the stakes have never been higher. Patrolling a coastline that spans over 37 million kilometers and watching over an exclusive economic zone is no small feat. But to do this, with the added weight of isolation, the dangers of an unpredictable sea, and the constant pressure of protecting our resources, then it becomes more than just a job. It is a responsibility that speaks to the core of what it means to serve this country. You are the vigilant stewards of peace and order upon our seas, ensuring that the rule of law prevails across our waters. In the face of tension, it is your calm resolve that prevents disputes from turning into conflicts, demonstrating to the world that embracing dialogue and cooperation is the true essence of strength. This is manifested as well by our awardees, to whom I express my gratitude and my deepest congratulations. Words and awards are always never quite enough to express our appreciation for your unwavering commitment and tireless service. This administration reaffirms its support to efforts that will improve your fleet and our air assets as well, to maritime domain awareness, weapons capability, and necessary infrastructure development. This will boost your capacity to respond to any operations. Be assured, you're never alone in carrying the weight of this mission. Therefore, I enjoin you to work with other concerned agencies in fulfilling your mandate of ensuring the safety of life and property at sea, protecting our environment, and enforcing maritime laws. Before I end, allow me to recognize our First Lady, Lisa Araneta Marcos, who recently joined the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. This is not surprising because of her commitment to preserving our marine environment. May each of us also find it within us to be a member of the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. And I see some of the prominent members who have also joined the First Lady in becoming part of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Well done. And so as we mark this 123rd anniversary, let us not simply celebrate the past. We must commit to the future, a bagong Pilipinas, where the Coast Guard continues to symbolize courage, resilience, steadfast dedication to our people. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang Philippine Coast Guard. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang declared half-day government work and classes at all levels nationwide on October 31st for the commemoration of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day on November 1st and the 2nd. According to Memorandum Circular Number 67, signed by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin on Tuesday, work in government offices and classes at all levels will be suspended on October 31st starting 12 noon to provide government employees full opportunity to properly observe Undas tradition, allow them to travel to and from different regions in the country, and promote domestic tourism. It added that agencies whose functions involve the delivery of basic and health services, preparedness and or response to disasters and calamities, and or the performance of other vital services shall continue their operations and render the necessary services. Meanwhile, the suspension of work for private companies and offices is left to the discretion of their respective heads. November 1, which falls on a Friday, is declared a special non-working holiday in the Philippines in observance of All Saints' Day.
Dateline Malacañang.
For 3 consecutive days, from the 23rd to the 25th of October, Malacañang has suspended work in government offices and classes at all levels in the entire island of Luzon due to the onslaught of severe tropical storm Christine. Albay Province was placed under a state of calamity Tuesday afternoon due to the widespread impact of Christine, as rains brought massive flooding to several provinces in the Bicol region. Naga City in Camarines Sur Province was among the heavily affected areas as continuous heavy rains brought flash floods that inundated almost the entire city, with at least 30% of Naga's land area was covered by flood waters, affecting 70% of the town's population. Malacañang issued the first suspension for Wednesday on Tuesday evening, as then Tropical Storm Christine draws closer to land, which was expected to make landfall in the northern province of Isabela. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, has hoisted Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 2 in Catanduanes Province, with numerous provinces in Luzon, including Metro Manila, placed under Signal number 1. On Wednesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. presided over a situation briefing at the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, at Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City to assess the government's preparedness. The President directed government agencies to closely monitor dams and enforce a measured response in releasing water due to anticipated heavier rainfall as Tropical Storm Christine moves closer to the country. According to President Marcos, while the storm has not yet reached their area, the government should do whatever is necessary to inform residents and give them what they need.
Maybe what we can do is do a measured response. Kahit hindi pa high water level, magbitaw na tayo ng kaunti. Pababain na natin na hindi apektado yung mga downstream communities. Give all the warnings that we can give, evacuate as many people as we can, but we really have to just batten down the hatches for a day and make sure that everybody has what they need, everybody has the emergency supplies.
The chief executive, meanwhile, said Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, sites across the country would be activated for relief and rescue operations in areas affected by Tropical Storm Christine. Speaking to reporters after presiding over the situation briefing at Camp Aguinaldo, the President said the EDCA sites would be used in airlifting relief goods, personnel, and equipment, especially in areas with unpassable road networks. The chief executive said Region 5, or the Bicol region, was devastated by Christine and needs assistance, but the help will get there as soon as the weather clears.
Right now, it's really Region 5. that was hit first at saka mabigat. Unfortunately, Region 5 was almost on the periphery. Hanggang nasa gilid na nung coverage area ng storm. So pagpasok nitong center ng storm, pag-eye of the storm, papasok na sa Northern Luzon, baka maging masyadong mabigat, kaya kailangan paghandaan na mabuti. And we are doing everything we can to get assistance pre-position. That's always the key. People evacuated properly, get our goods and equipment pre-positioned as close as possible without them having the risk of damage para malapit na sila doon sa area kailangan nilang servisan pagka dumaan na yung bagyo. And that's essentially what we did. And again, we've included all of the different agents, of course, the NDRMC led by the DND, and they are prepared to provide, number one, from the AFP, airlift, kasi may mga kalsada hindi pa madaanan. And number two, they're continuing with the AFP is also continuing to monitor the situation so that we will be able to activate the EDCA sites which were put there specifically for this purpose.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
On Wednesday evening, Malacañang issued another class and government work suspension due to expected heavy rains from severe Tropical Storm Christine, as the storm is forecasted to make landfall by Thursday morning in Isabela Province. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, on Thursday morning said parts of northern Luzon remain under tropical cyclone wind signal number 3 as severe Tropical Storm Christine made landfall in Divilacan, Isabela Province. PAGASA said the cyclone is forecast to leave the landmass of Luzon and emerge over the waters west of the Ilocos region on Thursday afternoon. Meanwhile, in a Palace Press briefing, Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian said family food packs have been pre-positioned to the DSWD's regional, provincial, and municipal hubs ahead of the onslaught of Christine, in line with its Buong Bansa Handa program, which replenishes supply of essential goods all year round. As of Thursday morning, Gatchalian said there are still 1,982,000 family food packs in DSWD warehouses nationwide. In the Bicol region, which was among the hard-hit areas, there are around 170,000 family food packs before the onslaught of Christine, which is now down to 121,000 as local government units, or LGUs, continue to withdraw supplies. Gatchalian added that the agency still has enough funds for the provision of cash assistance for the recovery of those affected by the inclement weather.
Being the lead agency in disaster response, kami ang in charge sa relief operations. Pero gusto ko lang i-emphasize na nung pag-upo ng ating Pangulo, ang kanyang direktiba ay lagi tayong handa. So we came up with a program called Buong Bansa Handa, if you can recall, wherein we pre-position goods all year round. Hindi na tayo nag-aantay, ang paradigm natin o ang mindset natin, hindi na tayo nag-aantay ng sakuna pa na dumating, kundi nakakalat na sa mga regional, provincial, warehouse at municipal warehouses natin ang ating mga family food packs at iba pang mga gagamitin during relief operations. Sa katunayan, bago natin naramdaman yung epekto ng bagyong Christine, ang national stockpile natin, ito yung mga family food packs na nakakalat sa lahat ng mga warehouses natin sa buong bansa, nasa kulang-kulang 2 million pieces. Ngayong umaga, I don't know if they can just flash the data, meron tayong 1.982600 million family food packs. Nabawasan mula kahapon hanggang ngayon kasi nagre-release na tayo. So we're ready. Sa katunayan, kausap ko kahapon si Mayor Legacion. The day before, kausap ko si Congressman El Rey Villafuerte. Kausap ko rin kahapon ng ating acting governor ng Albay, si Vice Governor Glenda. At ang assurance namin sa kanila, bagamat sila ang first line of defense, ang local government units, handang-handa ang pamalang nasyonal na i-augment o dagdagan ang kanilang mga supply. In fact, in that table, kung may dedirect ko lang kayo, sa Region 5, the whole Bicol region, bago tumama ang bagyo, we had around 150 or 170,000 na mga family food packs on the ground in Region 5. As of this morning, we still have around 121,000 family food packs in the region at tuloy-tuloy ang withdrawal ng mga local government units. Pero hindi tayo tumitigil dyan. Habang nagwi-withdraw sila, nagpapadala na tayo ng karagdagang another 100,000 family food packs sa Bicol. En route na yun ngayon. So, hindi pa man nauubos yung family food packs doon sa region, dinadagdagan na ho natin siya.
Department of Social Welfare and Development Secretary Rex Gatchalian. In the same press briefing, the National Power Corporation, or NAPACOR, assured the public, especially those living in low-lying areas, of a measured and gradual release of dam water to prevent massive flooding as severe tropical storm Christine continues to dampen most of Luzon and parts of Visayas. NAPACOR Flood Operation Manager Maria Teresa Sierra explained that under their previous protocol, the release of water will only be carried out when the dam reaches spilling level, which in the past has exacerbated flood woes in some areas. NAPACOR manages 12 dams all over the country, including 5 major dams in Luzon, namely Angat Dam, Caliraya Dam, Ambuclao Dam, Binga Dam, and San Roque Dam.
Aside from the mandate of the National Power Corporation to provide missionary electrification to the off-grid areas all over the Philippines, so NAPOCOR also manages major dams in Luzon and Mindanao. So for the 5 major dams that NAPOCOR manages in Luzon, these are the Ambuclao Dam and the Binga Dam in Benguet, the San Roque Dam in Pangasinan, the Angat Dam in Bulacan, and the Caliraya Dam in Laguna. So our mandate is to ensure that the public or the downstream communities of the dams are safe from the risk of the dam. So we ensure that should there be spilling operations conducted by these dams, so the LGUs primarily are partners with OCD and the provincial and the municipal disaster risk reduction management offices of these provinces are informed of the timely releases of these dams so that they can provide the necessary preparatory measures that the communities need to be advised that they should not be near the river to avoid any accidents or risk of floodings. And right now, so we are monitoring the spilling of the 3 dams in Luzon. So these are the Ambuclao and Binga dams and the San Roque Dam. Next slide, please. Currently, these dams are in minimal spilling operation. So they are only open at 0.5 and 1 meter. So this is to ensure that the dating po nung bagyong Christine is meron po tayong sapat na reservoir allocation para po pag yung ina-anticipate po natin na malaking buhos po ng pag-ulan is maagapan po siya at hindi po, kumbaga, iipunin lang po ng ating mga dam. So yung mga releases po dito na ginagawa is very controlled po siya and will definitely not cause flooding sa downstream communities po natin. And these dams are, nag-start po kaming mag-release ng tubig dito sa mga dams prior to the arrival of Bagyong Christine sa North Luzon to ensure po na kapag ka po dumating na po yung bagyo, is hindi na po nating sasabayan ng releases. So, hindi na po siya makakapagdagdag pa ng flooding downstream in case nga po na, ayun. And fortunately, the forecast from Pag-asa and yung pong na-receive po natin na ulan, thank God po na medyo na ano po siya, yung initial forecast po na malaki is nabawasan po siya. Kaya yung pong forecast po na releases po ng ating mga dams as of today is hindi po tayo magdadagdag ng any gate opening. So assured po yung ating mga communities na kung ano po yung mga na-experience po nila ngayon is yan na po, and then we anticipate na should the weather condition improve or yung pong pagpas po ng bagyo po natin at makalabas na po na siya ng PAR, we can terminate the spilling operation at this time.
National Power Corporation Flood Operation Manager Maria Teresa Sierra.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Thursday evening also suspended classes at all levels and work in government offices in the entire Luzon for Friday due to the continuing onslaught of severe tropical storm Christine. Christine made landfall early Thursday morning in Isabela and crossed over Luzon Island. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, said Christine would likely exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or PAR, on Friday afternoon. However, it's said that there is a developing forecast situation wherein Christine will be looping over the West Philippine Sea on Sunday and Monday and move eastward or east-northwestward towards the general direction of the PAR region. According to PAGASA, this depends on the behavior of the low-pressure area, or LPA, spotted east of northeastern Mindanao, which is expected to develop into a tropical depression within the next 24 hours. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., meanwhile, is scheduled to hold a situation briefing on Friday to hear reports and discuss the damages caused by Christine. Head of concerned government agencies including the Office of Civil Defense, or OCD, Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, Department of Agriculture, or DA, among others, are expected to join the briefing. Earlier, the president said the government is ramping up its efforts to hasten the Bicol region's recovery and mitigate the impact of Christine. In a social media post, the chief executive said he has directed all government agencies and offices, as well as his administration's partners in the private and non-government sector, to pitch in, strengthen, and reinforce the bulwark which the government have built against this raging tempest. President Marcos said the national government has allocated its resources to extend the necessary assistance to typhoon-hit areas to ensure their swift recovery. The Philippine president expressed confidence that with united and swift movement and action, the country will be able to recover and rise again as a stronger and stable nation.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Malacañang on Thursday commended authorities for the arrest of a suspected drug pusher at a residential area in the Malacañang complex in San Miguel, Manila. In a statement, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin said the arrest reflects the unyielding resolve of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and his administration in eradicating illegal drugs. The arrest was reportedly conducted by the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, in coordination with the Presidential Security Group, or PSG, Philippine Drug Enforcement Unit, and the local police. The suspect, identified as Edgar Ventura, was reportedly caught inside his house at San Miguel within the Malacañang complex. Found and seized during the operation were drug paraphernalia, including heat sealed transparent plastic sachets containing white crystalline substance suspected to be illegal drugs. Bersamin called on law enforcement agencies to relentlessly pursue the capture of the suspect's accomplices, even as he appealed to the public's cooperation in the ongoing investigation. The sprawling Malacañang complex houses the Malacañang Palace, the official residence and principal workplace of the president, as well as numerous mansions and office buildings. Residential villages are also located within the complex near the palace compound.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Friday said the national government will continue sending help and aid to areas affected by severe tropical storm Christine following sending aid and commenced rescue operations on Thursday. In a statement, the president pledged to those affected by the storm that help is on its way and it will come by land, air, and even by sea. The chief executive also ordered the full mobilization of available Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP personnel and resources which can be committed to relief operations. Other uniformed agencies such as the Philippine National Police or PNP, Bureau of Fire Protection or BFP, and the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG are likewise placed under that status. President Marcos has ordered them to deploy vehicles, aircraft, boats, ships, and all other transportation assets, including presidential helicopters, for rescue and relief and rehabilitation. The president also canceled all personnel leaves except for medical reasons and those with humanitarian justifications in the uniformed services. Members of the AFP and the PNP Medical Corps will also join in the relief effort as frontline personnel. President Marcos Jr. also directed cabinet secretaries to lead relief and rehabilitation work in specific areas and has ordered Department of Budget and Management or DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman to immediately release all necessary funds so that needed resources can be procured expeditiously.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.